And I forgot to turn on the recording. All right, so let me go back to the notes. And we only have a few minutes. And so I go to documents, I go back to European Union. So Gloria, well, I don't know. I don't know how you're going to vote if you're not here to get your ballot. I think the deadline to vote is June 12th. And so I have to put this in the mail and get to the Italian embassy by June 12th. So let me go back to Zoom here, share screen, back to the notes. And okay, so, and of course, you know, highlighting the tremendous difference in the European Union economies, of course, it seems it needs to be emphasized, the great difference in the European Union economies. The countries that started the European coal and steel community, Italy, Northern Italy was wealthy and prosperous, but Southern Italy was poor. And we covered the Mezzogiorno and the regional policy, the cohesion policies that began focusing on addressing Italy's requests that the European Union, in return for Italy agreeing to what France wanted, for example, with regard to certain policies that Italy wanted a focus on the regional development of the poor parts of Italy. And that set the foundation for the structure and cohesion policies that have been developing so much, even now, again, even with the pandemic and with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But then as the European Union expanded, the European Community changed its name from the European Coal and Steel Community to the European Community, and under the Treaty of Rome, and then the next expansion happened with the addition of the United Kingdom, which again was an advanced, developed economy, and coming along with it were Denmark and Ireland, because Denmark and Ireland were dependent upon the British economy. So even though the Irish nationalists generally don't have much love for the British because of their history, they still are economically dependent. But Ireland was very poor, and but it developed quite rapidly once it got into the European Union, this island of republic of 4.5 million people. So it would probably be considered a developed country today. And we have another question from Ella. She's asking, if the European Union is moving towards a de facto federal state, doesn't this make the crisis war worse? It could, right? Insofar as, for example, you write, as Russia will see this as a threat with the possible grain crisis and the mashing of European economies. Yeah, it does. Insofar it can, I guess, this is my speculation, right? Insofar as, for example, that Russia believes that the European Union, again, is a servant of the United States through the organization of Europe to more effectively support American hegemony. That the European Union, rightly or wrongly, the prevailing view, not the only view, but the politically dominant one that rules in Moscow, is that the European Union is the handmaiden of NATO led by the United States. That the European Union exists primarily to more effectively organize these smaller European countries to more effectively and efficiently support America's power and influence model. And so until we, you know, this has been an issue that I keep raising, not that I'm necessarily 100% certain that, of course, that my claims are right on, but that until the European Union is able to convince Moscow and change the prevailing view in Moscow that the European Union is an autonomous pole in international relations. It's one of a pole in a multipolar world, along with Washington, Beijing, European Union, Moscow, New Delhi. Then its expansion is going to be seen as a threat, and that's what happened in Ukraine in 2013, 2014, when. I mean, I've been trying to bring this up again and again and again, how the first European Union High Representative for the Common Foreign Security Policy that was adopted as a position in the European Union was under the Treaty of Lisbon in 2009. And the first High Representative of the Common Foreign Security Policy was Lady Catherine Ashton from Britain. She was the first in this new position. She was also a vice president of the Commission. And when Viktor Yanukovych, the pro-Russian democratically elected president of Ukraine, refused to sign the economic association agreement with the European Union, that's when protests by Ukrainian nationalists started in Kiev. against him because they wanted Ukraine to associate with the European Union, like he'd been promising them when he was running for president. And he said no, because Russia was strong-arming him and Ukraine by using its leverage over the Ukrainian economy, and particularly hurting his area where his base is located in the Donbass that was integrated with the Russian infrastructure, that area from the Soviet times. And the protests started at Maidan Square in Kiev among young people, people your age, my age, and who went out publicly to support them? Lady Catherine Ashton went to those protests in November, December 2013. Said, yeah, you're right. You can't have a more blatant statement that the European Union is opposed to Russian influence in Ukraine than that. And in my view, that was a terrible mistake. And and she wouldn't have done that if Herman von Rompuy, the first president of the European Council, and the European Union also didn't all support it. And of course, eventually, the police in Ukraine attempted to put down the protests. They used violence. 100 young people killed, mostly students like you. And Viktor Yanukovych ran away and is living somewhere in Russia now. And that's when Moscow began to support annexed Crimea and began to support the separatists in the Donbass in 2014. So that's where I have to stop today because I need to move back to my computer. So we'll have a debate on Friday and we'll talk more about the Europeanization of the member states' economies. Okay? Anything else? If not, bye.